Why do we find it so difficult to express gratitude to somebody who's very close to us? On the road, total strangers, we say thank you so easily when they do something in our favor. But when it comes to people who are very, very close to us, we desist from expressing gratitude. Why is this? Is there a reason for this? It's not as if we are ingrates. We are very grateful to people. We express gratitude to friends, acquaintances, relatives, colleagues, so many other people. But when they are so close to us, that closeness can actually cause friction between us. Gratitude is the lubricant for that, but we fail to express gratitude. Why is this happening? And when we are talking about people who are close to us, I'm only talking about parents, children, siblings, and spouse, people who are really, really part of the closest family that we have. Why do we not find it easy to say thank you to them? We have heard of, familiarity breeds contempt, absence makes the heart grow fonder. These adages are heard of. But here there's no contempt involved. We love these people. Yet we find it so difficult. It's because proximity breeds complacency. Expecting help and support from somebody who's so close to us is a given. It happens every day. We do help each other, we support each other, but we fail to acknowledge it because we think we don't need to acknowledge it. It happens every day. But much more than that, subconsciously we have this fear of vulnerability. We feel vulnerable when it comes to people who are very close to us. We have a fear that by expressing gratitude, we are actually revealing our weakness. We are revealing our emotional dependence, and human beings mostly think emotional dependence is a weakness. This is another reason. Actually, showing emotional dependence is something none of us want to do except during one stage in our life. If you had been in love when you were a teenager or when you were youth, that is a time when you are very proud of your emotional dependence and you would fly the flag of emotional dependence on the highest mast that you can find. But because you revel in emotional dependence at that stage, during your first love, when you're a teenager or youth, but subsequently, when this romance turns to actual loving, actual liking, fondness, respect, it's affection, when it turns to that emotional dependence is something that you want to hide, which is one of the reasons why we don't express gratitude. This ingratitude within family members is so beautifully captured in the film Lunchbox, which featured the inimitable Irfan Khan. King Lear, Shakespeare's King Lear, is a story of ingratitude within the family. It's a tragic story of ingratitude within the family. I want to share with you here a story which I had already shared in another video earlier, but that story is so apt for ingratitude amongst very close ones. It's the story of the apple tree and the boy. There was this little boy who loved to play around the apple tree, climb its branches, pluck its apples, eat them, and he loved the apple tree and the apple tree loved him back. For several years, this little child disappeared and then he reappeared. He came back as a grown-up boy and told the apple tree, I'm too grown up, I'm a big boy now, I don't want to run around you and play. I want toys to play with, but I don't have the money. The apple tree tells him, even I don't have the money, but you are most welcome to pluck my apples, go sell it in the market, make the money and buy your toys. The joyous boy did just that. Then he disappeared again, and several years later he came back as a youth, asking to cut some of the branches of the apple tree to build himself a house. The apple tree obliged. Again the youth disappeared and came back several more years later as a middle-aged man wanting to cut the main trunk of the apple tree to make a fishing boat for himself. The apple tree once again obliged. And then that man disappeared for a really, really, really long time, only to reappear as a wizened old man one day, wanting to rest his tired back on the even older apple tree. The apple tree welcomed him back gladly. I think you know where the story is going. This is the story of a parent and a child. This is not a story about an ungrateful boy, mind you, because it happens in most families. So it is not about an ungrateful boy, it's the story of life. And ingratitude within a family does lead to familial pressures. It strains relationship and it makes loved ones feel unacknowledged, unappreciated. So it is important to cultivate the habit of saying thanks to people who are very close to us. And mind you, it is a habit, so it needs to be nurtured. So go on and say thank you to the one you love most. Goodbye.